All right, good. All right, good. All right. Now we're getting started with our next interview here at Momocon. We got the multi-talented author and writer Stephanie Williams, and we will have our first outlet to ask the first question.
All right.
Mark from Blurredography. Thank you for letting us interview you again this year. But since we've interviewed last year, what's new with you?
So much. Few things that I cannot talk about, but I think it was just announced Warriors in a Week Wonder with DC Comics. It's DC Go. That's their like kind of web comic format. Very excited about that because I pitched it. It was a cold pitch. I originally pitched it as a 6-issue series. That was a little tonally different, but the editor was like, I think this would be easier greenlit here, and also you would have more creative freedom. So it's a 26 episode series. It features baby Diana pretty much putting the Amazons through hell. So I'm very much so looking forward to that. In June, next month, very huge announcement. My very first ongoing comic with IDW. I wish I could tell y'all what it is, but if you love Saturday morning cartoons from the 90s, then you're a wrestling fan, you will be so excited about this. And I have 2 creator-owned projects, one with Mad Cave Studios, another one with Ignition Press. The Ignition Press one is Cosmic Horror. So if you love Sinners, you'll definitely love this, and those will be out in October. Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Carnell from Carnell Hall Pictures. So I'm curious for at least with the big 2,
Mm-hmm.
what would be your Mount Rushmore of female superheroes and why?
All right. Can I like all together?
Yes.
So Vixen, Amanda Waller, Karen Beecher, and then from Marvel side, Misty, Storm, and Monica Rambeau. And I know that's more than, but give me those 6. The reason why is that all of these women, they have some amazing stories back in the 80s, which is crazy that those stories are that good. And a lot of them have had a resurgence, except for my girl Vixen. I've been trying my best to make that happen. I actually pitched a cosmic horror for Vixen that I'm hoping that DC will say yes to after they see the creator-owned thing come out. 'Cause sometimes they just want you to show and prove elsewhere, and I am most definitely doing that, but the price will go up. So I hope they know that. Yes.
All right, JB of JB versus the World.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
All right, so we're seeing at this point with the comic book movie scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think comic book fatigue is real. Comic book fatigue is real.
Westerns there's no fatigue in that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we're seeing now with James Gunn taking the helm at DC
Mhm.
and putting out Superman coming out soon, and
Yeah.
we're seeing different and more obscure characters making the big screen for the first time, and as we are in the MCU, more characters being there now than ever before.
Yeah.
We're past our baseline with them. Which characters would you like to see on film, and who would you cast?
You're making it hard. So, of course, I'm gonna go with Nubia right away. I was originally saying Kiki Lane for her, just after seeing her kind of do a little bit of action in Old Guard. Maybe Jodie Turner would be my next pick. But honestly, if they found somebody new, I'd be happy with that. I would just love to see Nubia on screen. And I think next would again be Vixen, because where is my girl? Where is she at?
Hasn't been live action since Arrow.
Yeah, I don't know who ever cast for her. I'm pretty sure in the 90s it probably would have been Tyra Banks and it would have been terrible. But I'm pretty sure they could find some young, fresh talent. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm blanking on the actress's name, but the woman who played Perlene in Sinners would actually be perfect.
Her name won't be.
Not Wumi, because that was Annie. So Perlene was the one.
Oh, Perlene.
Right.
Oh man, she's so fine. What's her name?
Jamie
Jamie Lawson.
Jamie Lawson.
Okay, yes. Love to see her as Vixen. Okay. You and then you. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Annie. You can go first, yeah.
Elder
sorry.
Geek Sam, Grown A Geeks. We spoke the other day. I had a brief
Yeah.
opportunity to speak with you, and I'm so happy about that. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's why I want to make it a point to get back and have follow-up questions. So, when you are creating a story for any one of the various companies that you write for, do you start from the existence of the continuity that's there and try to create something new, or do you prefer to pitch a new idea and let them figure out how to fit it in?
A little bit of both. I found that editors sometimes are a little bit more receptive when you try to keep things in continuity, especially if they have an event going on like this summer, Summer of Superman. So I pitched a Natasha Irons mini that I was told they didn't have room for, but hopefully they'll circle back to that. But in the case of the thing that I'm doing with IDW, I had to both pitch something new, but also keeping in continuity with this particular product because I believe they're trying to like relaunch toys and an animation series for this. So I really try to listen to what it is that the client wants because essentially that's what they are, and then go from there. Warriors in the We Wonder is something that's brand new. But because I've already written a lot of Amazon stuff, they trusted that, it would be somewhat in continuity. I wouldn't put new personalities and just things that don't fit these characters. Same thing with Moon Girl and Double Dinosaur. This is an episode that didn't get made into an episode. So for that, I had to pitch something completely new. Yeah. Yes. Oh, wait, hold on. There and then, yeah.
James with Momocon Podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming back. Last year, I specifically asked you about powerlifting. So two-part question. One, have you been over to lift yet since you've been here? And
No.
two, last year you mentioned a weight goal you wanted to hit as far as lifting. Have you hit that?
I did. So no, I didn't because Tuesday, Thursday I had back-to-back training sessions, and Wednesday was leg day. My trainer was like, "You won't be lifting anything after we get done," and he was right. And I did. So my goal was to be able to squat 305. I can squat 315 now.
Hey.
So yeah, I was very proud of that. Thank you. Yes. All right, you, and then you, and then you.
How do you feel about the representation of people of color, and not only in the comics, but when you do live action, like with Ironheart, how you gotta get down more?
Frustrating. Because like there was little to no promotion for Ironheart unless you was on the lookout for her. Then you had no idea that it premiered in June. In fact, I kind of forgot, but I forgot because Marvel had canceled the Ironheart series I was working on because they pushed the show back, which I didn't understand because now they would have had a trade paperback. But it like representation is great, but if you all are not going to really push and give the correct amount of promo, then why are we here? Especially if you're just trying to check off a box to just kind of say you did it, then it doesn't do well, but you didn't really promote it. And also to have it released the same day as a Superman trailer was just insane to me because it's Superman. And unless it's Batman or whatever, like you're not going to be able to compete with that. All right.
So I've heard people say for a career in art, you don't really need school. As a graduate of the University of Illinois, would you agree with that statement? And how has your degree helped you?
I'm gonna have to agree because my degree is in biology with a minor in physics, which I don't even know why I did that to myself. I guess in some ways it's helped because it brings a certain validity to my name because unfortunately when you're black in certain spaces you have to be like the top of the top. You cannot be mediocre, which is not fair, but as Olivia Pope's father read her down, you got to be twice as good to get a fraction of the things. So in that way it's been helpful. Also, like I learned how to research better when I was in school, especially because I was a research scientist, so that helped a ton. Yeah. Yes.
Also, Justice for the Moon Girl cartoon.
Yeah.
When you're creating and you're writing, what goes in? What is like your personal mission statement for your main characters?
Because I'm always, for the most part, writing women who are strong is to show that even in them being so strong that when they have moments of being vulnerable, like that's not a weakness. They're still very much human. So really trying to humanize them and make them relatable to others. Of course, you don't ever want to Mary Sue a character, but that is always my main focus, especially because I'm always writing black women too, to just show that like this is a full person. And as strong as she is, like she does have moments where she is unsure of herself, or things don't go right, or she has moments of sadness. Like all of that is okay. Like, she will pick herself back up, but it's really important for her to be able to do that and to have a support system that allows for that to happen. Yes.
With this being the 20th anniversary of Momocon, and we are also at the end of Momocon as we speak, how has this convention been for you from your experience?
Yeah.
And what makes Momocon special to you specifically?
It's been great. It's not great driving through and trying to get into Atlanta. However, I am always happy to come here because I get to see a lot more people that look like me, which is great, and they come out and support. And MomoCon in general, I think, just promotes a atmosphere where everyone is welcome, which is something I've always appreciated. So this is my 3rd year doing MomoCon. They have me back for next year. I'll be here because I just really love the vibe. It's a big convention, but it doesn't feel as overwhelming as New York City Comic Con. And this year I'm doing SDCC. Don't know how that is gonna go. I'm not tabling. I'm just there to do a bunch of signings and just kind of float, which I'm excited about. Yes.
Nicole Maria from Your Debut. Is there any character that you have not written for that you're looking forward to or would love to add to your
my whole repertoire? Yes.
Any that you can speak on?
Actually, yes, because I've been talking about this for the last 2 years because of this book, but I want to write some Justice League of Antarctica. It's a really silly group. Nort is the head of that, but there was a bunch of like D-list villains who were in the unemployment office together. And they looked around and was like, why are we here? We could go rob a bank. So they go rob a bank, but there's already a robbery in process. So they end up saving the day. Max Lord at the time is handling some things for the Justice League, and he's like, yeah, sure, we'll build a team, because he doesn't like Nort. He's a hater. He puts Nort in charge of that team, ships him off to Antarctica, and they end up fighting penguins for real. I would like to do a revamp of that, pick some new D-list heroes, actually add some color to it, and maybe have them go to like Bermuda or something like that. But next to that would be, I still would love to write Storm. I have a old man Logan-esque story for Storm that I would like to tell one day, but those would be my top 2. Yes. Oh wait. Yes and yes.
All right. Now, to kind of piggyback off my previous question, we see in a lot of media, especially when it comes to popular shows, that the women aren't properly represented by their male writers. I want to say like Naruto would be one of the most prevalent examples that comes to the top of my mind.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to any male writers in terms of writing women who may see this?
Okay, one, ask yourself, do you need to do this? But no, it's totally all right. But talk to the women in your lives, and if there aren't women in your lives, find some to talk to. I'm trying to think of, like, Dwayne McDuffie, for the most part, I feel like handled whatever female characters he wrote fairly well. But like, just talk to folks. I talk to people all the time when I'm writing a character that I don't necessarily hold those same experiences. When I'm writing men, my husband's there, a son, grandfather, dad, all of that, so I can pull from those experiences. But just, also write people like they're people. Like, if you write your character as a human, then it'll come through. I always think of Alien and how Ripley originally was supposed to be male, then they switched, and it still works. Same thing with Sarah Connor was always supposed to be like a woman, but that still works. So I think of, like, if you just write it like a regular person, then you should be fine. All right.
Since we spoke about Black women and representation, my question for you is this. There aren't a lot of Black women in comic spaces and in manga spaces. Are there any that you know of that you look up to, or especially like in comics and manga? And if so, or if not, what advice would you give to a young Black woman who's interested in joining the comic and manga space?
All right, I'm gonna not name everyone because I just simply can't, but Asia Simone comes to mind. She's a young artist that I worked with on Moon Girl and also brought in to do My Little Pony. Asia Fullmore is another Black woman that I brought in for my first creator-owned series with Mad Cave Studio. There's Sarah Macklin, who I did Parenthood Activate with. She just started Burning Press. They're actually still taking submissions for stories, which I think is really dope. Of course, you have a full Richardson. You also have Regine Sawyer. Who else? MK Jemison, who I hope makes her way back to comics if DC acts right, and Eve Ewing, of course. There's Dr. Sheena Howard is another one. Sherilyn Eden is another. There are just so many women, black women in this space that, especially mainstream comics, because on the indie side, they're like really doing their thing, but in mainstream, I would so much love for there to be more of us. And anytime that I can, I try to make that happen. I only have so much power, but if I'm able to, just suggest someone or, send a pitch directly to an editor from another person I've reached out to, like that's what I'm trying to do because I don't get joy out of being the only one in the room. That's not fun. So the more we can get in, the better. All right. Yes.
Joy with the Blonde and Nudie podcast. So
Yeah.
you just mentioned, you don't get joy out of, no pun intended, out of being the only one in the room. If you had your way and you could reach anyone, talk to anyone, get anyone to do anything, what kind of project would you like to put together if you had a connection or attachment to the folks that you want to work with?
So my hope is that in maybe 10 years, I would be able to start my own publication. And of course, it would be open to everyone, but I would make it very, it would be my goal to bring in as many black women as I could and to like just support whatever it is they're trying to do, because it's usually money, which is a stopper. So that would be the thing that I would try to do. I'm even trying to get into more editorial work because that's important. There aren't a lot of black editors at these bigger companies. In fact, I don't know who's left at Marvel. The two black editors I knew there, they both left. And at DC Comics, I don't think there's any black women. It's just two black guys. So we need more editors because editors are usually the ones like putting, kind of finding talent and bringing them in. So those would be the two things. The editorial side, I think I might make that shift if I'm able to juggle and do both because there's so much impact you can have as an editor. Okay, yeah.
Can you tell us about those books that you have and any upcoming projects?
Yes, so again, Warriors and We Wonder, that is the DC Go project. For Mad Cave, that creator-owned series is a sci-fi, so it's kind of inspired by a time cop. But the whole idea there is I was talking to a friend. When I'm at these conventions, I'm often like looking for retro games for my son. And he's like, you turn into Laura Croft when you're at these things. And I kind of do. So I thought it'd be kind of fun if there was a mom who used to be, a retired time thief. Her and her husband left and then they got married, had this kid. So she goes back in time to, do something as trivial as still a video game, but it just makes things go left. It's just a very fun, not too heavy story. Think if Roland Emmerich would have directed Time Cop, that's the way I think of it. And then for Ignition Press, it's a cosmic horror that takes place in 1905. I said I would never write anything past 1980, but I lied to myself. But in this case, it is a story that was inspired by Madam C.J. Walker, but I was thinking if she would have been more of a chemist than a businesswoman. So I have this woman who is a chemist, and her family is known to be root workers. So there's like this journal that's been passed down, and she goes back home to Savannah, Georgia, and comes in contact with something that she probably should have left alone, and things go left. Yes. Well, yes and yes.
So what do you like to do in your free time? Because it's like you're a very, very busy person. So
Yeah.
what do you need to...
Okay, so thanks to my husband and son bullying me in a loving way. I'll either, movie nights, we have game nights. I am a huge reader of romance novels. Like that is my go-to. I love me some Beverly Jenkins, Brenda Jackson, Maureen Smith, all of these amazing women, because they actually inform a lot of the writing I do, because that's where I first saw like black women represented as full people. Even the strong ones having moments to kind of break down. So that, my son is now playing sports, so I'm turning into a sports mom on the low. But yeah, like I don't work the weekends anymore. I used to do that, burn myself into the ground doing that. I try to stop work around 7, but if an idea hits me, I'm still typing away. But I am just very grateful to have the type of support system I have where someone can come in and say, hey girl, you've been sitting in front of this computer for 15 hours. Do something else. All right.
You mentioned that you're an upcoming project that it's also kind of speaks to wrestling fans.
Mm-hmm.
What is your relationship with professional wrestling, and how do you think wrestling relates to the nerd space?
That's, to me, it's the same as sports fandom, wrestling fandom, like that. Those things overlap with comics. This project, I was happy to be able to lean into wrestling because I don't know if folks know how much I've been into wrestling, especially in the past. So, you know, your Bianca Belairs, all that, love them down. I actually got to meet John Cena last weekend at Philly because of this book, and I was able to give him a copy, which was really cool. He was really nice. But John Cena, the Hardy Boys, I'm kind of like late 90s, early 2000s. That's when I was really watching, because you could still watch wrestling on UPN at the time. So that's what I was doing. But I just think that in general, like, those have such strong fandoms that it just overlaps. And also, wrestlers often dress up as superheroes, especially my girl, Jade Cargill. Like, she loved... Like, I'm not sure what her acting chops are like, but I mean, I could see her as Storm.
Zelina Vega did All Might last night.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah. Oh, ooh, I don't know who you spoiled. My bad. All right. Anybody else? Yeah.
At what point did you realize you made an impact?
I think as soon as that first issue of Nubia came out, I was doing my first signing at Heroes Aren't Hard to Find, and this young lady came up to me and was like, hey, thank you so much. Her sister is trans, and she was like in tears. I was in tears. I don't know, like, that moment really hit me. And then also, every time I'm at a convention, sometimes I'll see, you know, little black girls come by and their face will light up because they see, you know, some of the stuff on my table and then realize that it's me who wrote it. And being able to, like, kind of talk to them, encourage them, it just means a lot. But whenever I'm able to, like, hold space with people who take my work to heart, I don't know, like, I'm helping in a different way. I thought I'd be helping, you know, as a scientist, but here I am as a writer. Yes.
What is your favorite part of your creation process?
That is a great question. The pitching part, because, you know, you have all these great ideas, it's wonderful, but then you got to actually write them. So the pitching part is actually my favorite until I got to write it. Yes.
So, as someone who's read Storm's story in the comics from the 80s,
yeah,
how do you feel her being depowered in X-Men 97, if you saw it before? How do you feel about that story versus what the comics did with it?
It was very missed for me, just because, you know, you got to see her be amazing in those first 2 episodes, and then the depowering comes and we don't see her again. But instead of there being some type of payoff in that finale, which I kind of felt like she could have helped with that asteroid a little bit more, or what was that with her and Jean at the end? Like, I just felt like she could have did a little bit more. Like, I don't necessarily have a problem with Storm being depowered, because that's when we've gotten some great storytelling from her, but to do it and then not really give a payoff for that, it just kind of felt like we're doing this because it has happened, but we're not really doing it with a purpose. Yeah.
Speaking of Storm, how do you feel about the on-off again that usually occurs with her relationship with T'Challa?
So I got to talk to Christopher Priest about this at Rose City. The way that I've always seen Storm and T'Challa is kind of like these, you know, they were always, they love each other and they should be meant together to be together, but because of circumstances, it just never quite happens. I personally think that they could work. Dwayne McDuffie, when he wrote them in the Fantastic Four series that he had did, I think like Sue and Reed actually had marital problems. They were trying to like go on vacation, so like Storm and T'Challa took their place, and I love that because you got to see Storm still be great and Black Panther also be great. Oftentimes when they're written together, it's one or the other, and I'm not always a fan of that. because it was purely done kind of like in a, it's a business type of thing. Let's put these two black superheroes together. Although Storm does meet Black Panther at some point in time in Christopher Claremont's run in the 80s. Like, that's a little seated there. It's just, I wish they would either let them be or just kind of leave it alone. Meanwhile, DC's got Karen and Maul, and they're not doing anything with it. But like, I just wish that there was a chance for them to like really be great as a couple, and I just don't know if we're ever going to get that.
I guess to piggyback off of that, why do you think we don't see a lot of black love in comic books?
Because we don't have enough black people writing them. Yeah, I know. Like, I literally only pitched a Karen Beecher and Mal Duncan story because I was thinking of Tony song Anniversary. Mal sings, and I just wanted him to sing that to her by the end. And thankfully, like, the editor was receptive to that. I also don't think he was paying attention because I don't think they would have got through legal, but it's just because we don't have enough black writers in these spaces, because that would be my focus. It often is whenever I can. I mean, part of the reason why Nubia ended up with Io, because I thought she was light-skinned. I was wrong. I was very wrong. Because art shading changes, and I forgot what panel I was looking at, but she was given a little down south red bone, and that was not the case. so that happened. I was like, ooh, they gonna eat me up for this. But anytime that I can put two black characters together, I'm always gonna do that. Yes.
So earlier today we had Marcus Williams and Kelly Burnham in, and they spoke about the rule of three. The rule of three being that if you have more than 3 black characters, main prominent characters, in a movie, a show, or a comic book, or anything, it's automatically marketed to just be, this is for black people. What are your thoughts about that? And when you create your stories, is that something that's in your mind?
No, because I'm just trying to like tell a story, but because inherently, like, I'm gonna try to put as many black people in there. That's not something that crosses my mind. Like, if somebody considers it like a black story, then that's their business, but this should be a story that everyone should be receptive to, in the same way that folks were with Sinners. That's something I feel like everyone should see. Like, it's a genre-specific movie that just so happens to have black people in there, and a lot of history that is amazing. But no, like, I don't care. Like, you want to read something that looks homogenous, there are so many books out there like that. But that's the other thing. Like, why would you have a problem with more than 3 black people? Why would you have a problem with looking at black media anyway? You're already kind of taking what we have and trying to infuse it into characters that don't look like us. So it's not like you're not interested. You just don't like the way it's packaged. And that is your problem, not mine. Yeah.
All right, one last question.
All right.
How can people follow you on social media?
You can follow me at Steph_I_Will. That's on Instagram, Threads, TikTok. I still do have my X account, but I don't use it. And yeah, like, please follow. I have some really huge, amazing news that I'm just proud of, because I'm working on some projects that I feel like people wouldn't be like, oh, they got a black lady to write that. They absolutely did, because the way that I've been working in this business is that I try my damnedest to not just get called in February or June for Juneteenth, which is very hard because the business will try to silo you. And it's not that I don't want to write black characters, I always will, but as Brian Stelfree said, like, as soon as he started working on Black Panther, he all of a sudden became the guy who does like all the black characters, even though he was doing a bunch of stuff before then. So especially the title that's coming or will be announced in June, like, I am very proud of that, because I hope that when it comes out, not just young black girls, but just black people in general who want to get in this space will see that and say, oh, well, I can pretty much tell whatever story I want to tell. I do not have to be put into a box that this business likes to put you in.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.